Like I told y'all, we're spending a few days in 3.5. We've already spent 2 days there, correct? Took notes Monday, got an assignment yesterday. Taking some notes today, probably getting an assignment today. And we'll see about Friday. Okay? So we never got to graphing in slope-intercept form, did we? We just talked about identifying the slope and the y-intercept and getting it into slope-intercept form, correct? We never got to graphing. Today we're going to get into graphing. So here's our first example. Graph 2x plus y equals 2. Identify the x-intercept. So the first question I'm going to ask you, what form is this equation in? Is it in standard form or slope-intercept form?
Standard form.
Standard form. ax plus by equals c. Right? Do you guys remember how we graphed in standard form? Huh?
Did we ever graph?
We did graph in standard form. We'll see if this rings some bells. That rang a bell, but do what?
We plugged in y for nil when x is some number.
Plugged in 0 for y to find what?
The x value.
The x-intercept, right? So how did we find the y-intercept? And solve for y. And then we graphed our x-intercept and we graphed our y-intercept and connected the points of the line. You guys remember that? That's how we graphed using standard form. So we do remember this vaguely. Today, we're going to graph using slope-intercept form instead of using our x and y intercepts. Okay? So what's slope-intercept form again? Y equals mx plus b. So this equation is not in slope-intercept form. I need to get it there though. So I'm solving for which variable? Trying to get which variable by itself?
Y.
Trying to get y by itself. So what would be my first step to get y by itself?
Divide by n.
Nope. Nope.
Divide by 2.
Huh?
Subtract 2x.
Subtract 2x from both sides. I have a positive 2x being added to y. So I'm subtracting 2x from both sides to cancel it out. I get y by itself on the left-hand side. Are 2 and negative 2x like terms?
No, they're not.
No. So can I combine them?
No.
No. So I just represent it as negative 2x plus 2. Is this now in slope-intercept form?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Let's go ahead and identify our slope and our y-intercept like we did yesterday and the day before. Raise your hand if you can tell me my slope of this equation.
Negative 2 over 1.
Negative 2, which you said is negative 2 over 1. It's the number being multiplied by x, right? Everyone okay identifying the slope from an equation?
Yeah.
Okay, raise your hand if you can identify my y-intercept for me. 2, it's my number by itself, the number without a variable, my constant. There's multiple ways we can say it, but that's my y-intercept. We all good identifying the y-intercept?
Yeah.
Okay, that's where we stopped the past 2 days, right? It just told us to find the slope and the y-intercept, and we were good. Now we need to graph it. So I'm going to graph using my y-intercept and my slope. Raise your hand if you can tell me what a y-intercept is in general.
Where the line intercepts the y-axis.
Very good. So where my graph crosses the y-axis, right? So which one's my y-axis? Is it the horizontal one or the vertical one? Vertical. My vertical. So where's my graph crossing the y-axis? 2. So to start my graph, graphing in slope-intercept form, I'm going to put a point at 2 on my y-axis. So I know that's where it's crossing the y-axis, right? Does that make sense? Okay. What did I do? There we go. I don't know how I changed slides. Anyways, there we go. Now I'm going to use my slope to get more points on my graph. because I need more than 1 point to graph a line. Okay? Slope is what over what? Rise over run. We already said negative 2 as a fraction is negative 2 over 1, correct? We generally, when we're graphing in slope-intercept form, we want our slope to be a fraction, so we can get that rise over run. So rise is my vertical movement. So if my rise is positive, which way do you think I'm going?
Up.
If my rise is negative, which way do you think I'm going?
Down.
Down. Very good. Run is my horizontal movement. If my run is positive, which way do you think it's telling me to go?
To the right.
To the right. If my run is negative, which way do you think that's telling me to go?
Left.
Left. Is everyone okay with those concepts?
Yeah.
So in our case here, we have negative 2 over positive 1. So which two directions am I going and how many units each direction?
To the left, down 2 and right 1.
Very good. I'm going down 2 because it's a negative 2. And then I'm going right 1 because it's a positive 1. And then I'm going to put my next point. Okay? I always start from my y-intercept when I start counting. Always start from the y-intercept. So for my y-intercept, I'm going to go down 2, right 1, put a point. Is everyone okay using slope to get another point?
Yep.
I can just keep doing that. Just keep going down 2, right 1, putting other points. Down 2, right 1. 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 When we're graphing in slope-intercept form, I want you to get as many points on the graph as you can fit. Okay? So, is there anywhere I could fit more points on the graph?
Up.
To the left of my y-axis, right? I've got them to the right of my y-axis, but I can fit some more to the left of my y-axis. Any ideas how I'm going to do that?
You would just switch the positive and negative.
Very good. I'm just going to change the signs of my numerator and denominator on my slope. So what's the opposite of negative 2? Positive 2. What's the opposite of positive 1? Negative 1. So I have 2 over negative 1. Is that still negative 2?
Well, yes.
Yes. So I haven't really changed my slope, have I?
No.
It looks a little different, but it's still the same thing, right? So which two directions am I going now?
Up to left 1.
Up 2, left 1. Up 2 because it's a positive 2. Left 1 because it's a negative 1. Once again, I start from my y-intercept. Up 2, left 1, put a point. 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 Any questions on how I got any of these ordered pairs on my graph? We okay with that? Now, I've fit all the points I can fit on my graph, right? Now I can connect my points with a line. Try to make it straighter than I made mine. Do not forget your arrows on your line. My graph stops, and I'm doing air quotes around stops because does my graph actually stop?
No.
No, my XY coordinate plane goes on all the way to infinity, all the way to negative infinity,
And beyond.
right? So I've got to use the arrows on my line to represent my line going on forever and ever and ever as well. Okay? Questions on how I graph that?
No.
Is that all it asks of me? So what's the x-intercept in general? Not in this case, but in general?
Something that crosses the x-axis.
Well, my graph crosses the x-axis. So where does our graph cross the x-axis?
I can tell.
1. Here's the origin. Just over 1, right?
Oh.
So my x-intercept would be 1, 0. That's what I would say. Questions on this example? We okay graphing-wise? Slope-intercept form?
Mm-hmm.
Can I race and do another example with you?
Yes.
You guys remember this from pre-algebra or no?
Indeed.
Indeed. Some of us remember. Do some of us not remember?
Yes, too.
Okay, let's say I give you y equals negative 4/5 x plus 3. Is this already in slope-intercept form?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Raise your hand if you can give me my slope.
Negative 4 over 5.
Negative 4/5. It's the number being multiplied by my x variable. Raise your hand if you give me my y-intercept.
3.
3, very good. My constant, the number without a variable. So when I'm graphing in slope-intercept form, what do I graph first?
Y-intercept.
My y-intercept. So where's it crossing the y-axis?
At 3.
3, so I put a point at 3 on my y-axis. Questions there? We okay with that first step? Okay. I then use my slope to get more points. What's my slope? Negative 4/5. I see a problem here. Got a negative 4/5. Do you think the negative goes with the 4? Do you think it goes with the 5? Do you think it goes with both of them?
It goes with either.
What do you mean?
It can go with either because it's just like the last problem. You can switch it. It doesn't matter.
Very good. Some people said in my other classes that it goes with both. But a fraction is division, right?
Yeah.
Negative divided by a negative is a
Positive.
positive. So is a positive 4/5 the same as negative 4/5? No. So it cannot go with both of them at the same time. But like we said, it can go with either or. Negative divided by a positive gives me a negative, so this would be negative 4/5. Positive divided by a negative gives me a negative, so that'd still be negative 4/5, right? Those are all equivalent. I'm actually going to end up using both of them so I can get points on both sides of my y-axis. Okay? So let's use the middle one first. Negative 4 over positive 5. Which two directions am I going for that?
Go down 4.
Down 4?
To the right 5.
Right 5. Put a point. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many points do I want you to get on your graph each time?
As many as you can.
As many as you can fit. Not as many as you want. Don't stop at like 4 or 5. If you can get more, get more. Okay? So I've gotten all the points I can to the right of the y-axis. To get points to the left of the y-axis, I change the signs in my numerator and denominator. What's the opposite of negative 4? Positive 4. What's the opposite of positive 5?
Negative 5.
Negative 5. So which two directions are we going now?
Right 4, down 5.
Up 4,
To the left.
left 5. Remember, rise over run. Up 4, left 5. Put a point. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's all the points I can fit. So I draw my line through my points. Put your arrows on your line. Questions there? Not too bad? Okay. Can I erase and give you another example? Let's say I give you y equals x plus 2. Raise your hand. Someone who has an answer today. If you can give me my slope. Yes?
2.
No. Good try though. What is it?
1.
Very good, 1. The number being multiplied by x. Anytime I have a variable with no number in front of it, what's understood to be in front of it? 1. So in this case, my slope is just 1. What would be my y-intercept? What's my y-intercept?
2.
What number did you tell me earlier? 2. We okay with that? The slope is multiplied by x. My y-intercept is my constant, the number without a variable. So I put a point at 2. Is everyone okay if I go through this quicker now that we're kind of getting the hang of it? Put a point at 2 because that's my y-intercept. It's crossing my y-axis at 2. What's 1 as a fraction? 1 over 1. So which two directions am I going?
Down 1 right. Or up 1 right.
Up 1, right 1. We're not there yet, but we'll get there. Up 1, right 1. Slopes of 1 are the most annoying to graph because you're going to have the most points. So I'm literally just going up 1, right 1, put a point. Put a point, put a point, put a point, up 1, right 1. We're going to get a lot of points. Everyone okay with that? What do I need to do to get more points? Change the signs of my numerator and my denominator. So we get what over what? Negative divided by negative gives me a positive, so it's still equivalent to positive 1. So now which two directions am I going? Down 1, left 1. Down 1, left 1. So on and so forth. Get as many points as you can fit on that graph. The more points you have on a graph, the more accurate your line is going to be. I fit all the points I can fit. So I draw a line through my points. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. Put your arrows on your line. If you don't put your arrows, are you wrong?
Yes.
Yeah, you are. Because you're telling me the graph stops there. It does not stop there. Questions on this one? Can I erase and give you another one? This is good stuff, isn't it? You guys having fun yet?
A little bit.
I enjoy Slope-Intercept form.
Quite enthusiastic.
Let's say I give you y equals negative x plus 2. What's my slope?
1.
Not 1. Negative 1. It's understood to be a 1 in front of the x, right? But I've got that negative sign in front of it, so it's going to be negative 1. What's negative 1 as a fraction?
Negative 0.5.
What?
Oh, that's a decimal.
Negative 1 is a fraction.
Negative 1 over 1.
Negative 1 over 1. What's my y-intercept? 2. So I put a point at 2 on my y-axis. So that's where it's crossing my y-axis. Which two directions am I going?
Down 1, right 1.
Down 1, right 1. I get all the points. What do I need to do to get more points?
Switch the symbols.
Switch the sign, so I get what over what?
1.
Positive 1 over negative
1 over negative 1. So which two directions am I going?
1. Up 1, left 1.
Up 1, left 1.
Negative slope.
This is a negative slope. We can always check ourselves, check our answers, by asking ourselves what slope dude would say on the line we create. I know this is a negative slope, correct? So I know slope dude should be saying nice negative on my line, right? So if I graph a line that he's not saying nice negative on, I know I've done something wrong, right? Is he saying nice negative on our line?
Yes.
Yes, he is. He's going downhill from left to right, correct? So he's saying nice negative. That one wasn't as good, but that's okay. There's my graph. Questions on that one? Can I erase and give you another?
Yes.
Having a blast.
Yeah.
So that gives you y equals 5x. Y equals 5x. Raise your hand if you can give me my slope. What? 5. The number being multiplied by x, correct? Is 5. So what's 5 as a fraction?
5 over 1.
5 over 1. Raise your hand if you can give me my y-intercept. 0. Very good. There's nothing being added to 5x, is there? So if I were to add something, it would be, well, 0. So my y-intercept is just my origin in this case. So I put a point at 0 on my y-axis. And then which two directions am I going? How many units?
Up 5. Right 1.
Up 5, right 1. Up 5, right 1. Up 5, right 1. What do I need to do next?
Down 5.
Make it.
Change my sign. So, Ryan, which two directions am I going?
You're going down 5, then you're going to the left 5 1.
Down 5, left 1. Very good. Down 5, left 1. Connect my points. Add your arrows. There's my graph. Questions there? We all right with all these?
Yes.
All right, identifying the slope, the y-intercept, graphing the y-intercept, using the slope to get more points, all that good stuff.
Yes.
You okay?
Yes.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I erase and give you another one? Y equals 4. Y equals 4. Raise your hands if you give me my slope here.
Is it undivided? No, it's 0.
0. So I could rewrite this as y equals 0x plus 4, correct? So what's my y-intercept? 4. How did we graph equations like this in the past?
Horizontal.
Right, how do we do it though? What acronym do we use? Hoy-Bucks, right? So this would be Hoy. So I know it crosses the y-axis at 4. What kind of a line is it? Horizontal, so I draw a horizontal line through that point, correct? You can still use slope-intercept form to graph it. So we graph our y-intercept. I could write 0 as a fraction as 0 over 1. So which two directions am I going and how many units? Am I going up or down or any?
No.
Nope, but I'm going how many to the right? Right 1. So don't go up or down any, go right 1. And we just keep following that pattern, right? Then if I change the signs, 0 doesn't have a sign, so it stays a 0. And this becomes negative 1. So now I'm not going up or down any, and I'm going left 1. Does everyone see that? If you just want to use Hoy, I'm okay with that. Okay? I'm not going to make you draw all those lines on the horizontal line. Any other graph, though, I want you to get as many points on the graph as you can. Okay? Questions on this one?
No.
You okay? Questions, comments, concerns? Here we go. Next example. A linear function g models a relationship in which the dependent variable increases 3 units for every 1 unit the independent variable increases. Graph g when g of 0 equals 3. Identify the slope, y-intercept, and x-intercept of the graph. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of words. I do notice the words independent and dependent variables, right? What variable is usually our dependent variable? What's dependent on the other variable? Y is my dependent variable, right? Y always depends on x. So that makes x our independent variable. So it says the dependent variable, so y, increases how many units? 3 units. So do you think that's going to be a positive 3 or negative 3? Positive 3. For every 1 unit, the independent variable increases. So x also increases how many units? 1. Is it going to be positive or negative 1? Positive 1. Does anyone see how this is going to help us out graphing-wise, graphing this scenario?
Yep.
How?
So you just go 3 every 1.
Huh?
You go 3 every 1.
So what is this number that we just wrote?
Oh,
Rise over run, right? So what's our slope in this case?
3 over 1.
3 over 1. So 3, right? Because, remember, slope is my change in y over my change in x. That was one way I wrote slope the other day on our notes, right? So what's my change in y here?
3.
Positive 3. What's my change in x?
1.
Positive 1. There's my slope. I've already identified my slope. So everyone see how that's my slope? It's my change in y over my change in x. Okay? Okay, let's look at the other information we're given. Graph g when g of 0 equals 3. How does that information help us out graphing-wise?
Doesn't like kind of go back to a previous lesson?
Still talking about this lesson.
Does it show what X will be?
Not X.
Oh, it's like X is 0.
So yeah, they plugged in 0 for X, right?
Yeah.
So what do they get for their Y or their G of X?
That's what I'm saying.
Is it?
That's what I
Okay.
was saying that it kind of goes back to a previous lesson.
Oh, I guess function notation is what you're talking about, isn't it? So kind of, yeah. I see what you're saying now. Yes. So they plugged in 0 for X, and they got out 3 for Y. So what would that ordered pair be? 0, comma 3, right? How does that help me out graphing wise? Huh?
That's where it starts.
Shows the
That's where it
y-intercept.
crosses the.
That's what?
Y-intercept.
That's the word I was looking for. Y-intercept, right?
Oh, yeah.
0, comma 3 would be my y-intercept because I'd be right here on my y-axis at 3. Does that make sense?
See.
So I know my y-intercept, 0, comma 3. So now all I have to do is graph it and then identify my x-intercept. Because I've already identified my slope and my y-intercept. Now I need the graph and my x-intercept. So put a point at 3. Because that's my y-intercept. And what's my slope again? 3 over 1. Which two directions am I going?
Up 3, right 1.
Up 3, right 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. Which other two directions can I go?
Down 3, left 1.
Down 3, left 1. Connect your points with the line. Put your arrows on your line. So I've done everything except identify my x-intercept. But now I can find my x-intercept because I've graphed it. Where's it crossing my x-axis?
Negative 1.
-1. So what's the ordered pair for my x-intercept?
Negative 1, 0.
-1, 0. Any questions on how we did all that? Did we do everything they wanted me to do? Yes, we did. We graphed it. When g of 0 equals 3, we identified the slope, we identified the y-intercept, and we identified the x-intercept. Questions on that example? Okay. All the other classes were cut short today. So when I was ending in their classes, we only had like 3 minutes left in class. So I didn't give them an assignment. So we don't get an assignment today. Enjoy your day off tomorrow. We'll get the assignment Friday in class. So come prepared to work Friday. So Friday's assignment will be similar to yesterday's assignment, plus there'll be some graphing like today's. Okay? Questions, comments, concerns before I end my recording?